Let's bring in Congressman Roger Williams. He's a part of the House GOP, also a chairman of the House Small Business Committee. Congressman, you're listening there to one of your colleagues there in Congress, AOC, calling for temporary protective status. Many may be familiar with that with Haitian migrants here in the States, now for Ecuadorians. It's seemingly Democrats looking for a loophole based on mass deportations coming soon. Your thoughts on what you've heard from the Congresswoman?
Well, when I listened to that a minute ago, it sounded like only one person was clapping when she made her remarks, which shows that America on November 5th voted for strict borders, strict laws, do it right, realize the dream the right way. I mean, that's what Americans voted for, and they're totally out of touch. I mean, look, we got an invasion going on at the border. I've been going down there for a long time. I've been one of the first people to call for the military at the border. You got the illegals coming in. You got the drug dealers running the border. We've lost our sovereignty. All that has to get back again. So certainly the United States military is an option to go down there. And if you want to come to America and do it legally, that's fine. If you don't, you got to go home.
Yeah, absolutely. Go through the legal process. There are clearly laws on the books, and yet we've seen a record number of folks entering this country illegally. But there are already challenges to President-elect Trump's plans to enact these mass deportations. The ACLU also wants to get involved here. As you can imagine, there could be plenty of lawsuits challenging these plans. The fact that he said or appeared to endorse the idea of using the military to also assist has been met with much backlash, especially from blue city mayors, even saying they're not on board with these plans. How do you think the Trump administration clears these hurdles when they want to get this plan going?
I think, I think there's a process you have to go through. But I get back to November 5th. You look at that map. You've seen it many times. You showed it. It's basically all red. People want strong borders. They want laws. That's what they voted for. And these governors like Pritzker and the governor of New York and all these saying they're going to protect their people. Who are they protecting? Their people voted for Donald Trump. Their people voted for strong borders. Their people voted for legal behavior. So it's interesting what they're trying to do. But look, I'm sure there'll be, like you say, there's going to be court cases around. The system will work. We need to defend our borders. We need to build a wall. You know, you brought up there's already laws on the books right now that if we just use those laws, fixes things. Stay in Mexico policy, for example, that would eliminate 70% of the crossings immediately if we just go back to that. So look at these Democrats that want to defend their people. Their people voted for Donald Trump. I don't know what they're talking about.
Speaking of politics, you just won your re-election in your district, the 25th district in Texas early this year. You introduced a bill that would require the federal government to reimburse the state of Texas for expenses securing the border with Mexico, citing that 90% of small businesses in your state are hit by illegal migrant crime. Can you talk about the focus in your next term in the House? Obviously, border security, immigration reform, this seemingly, again, a mandate, as you were lightly touching on, for the Trump administration. But for you representing your constituents in the great state of Texas, what's your focus?
Well, economy is a big deal. We want the economy to come back. I chair the Small Business Committee, as you know, and the economy, small business, and Main Street have been hurting. We want the economy fixed. We want the border secure. We want to have an energy program that makes us the dominant player in energy. We want to sell. We don't want to buy. In Texas, these are things that we want to just turn the economy, turn the country over to individuals, over to Americans, the greatest asset we have, and that's what Texans want. They want the government out of their life. Let me compete against my competition, not compete against the federal government. So we're going to be looking, frankly, at lowering taxes, cutting regulations, creating an energy program in Texas that makes us dominant and secure in the border.
Yeah. We've got to ask you about this news this morning, Congressman. One of your colleagues, Nancy Mace of South Carolina, she is talking about plans to introduce a resolution that would essentially keep bathrooms separate based on biological sex. It comes at a time as there's a new transgender member of Congress, and she, of course, says she's doing it on behalf of protecting women in women-safe spaces. Speaker Mike Johnson was asked about it at the weekly press conference. Here's what he had to say about this proposal.
We welcome all new members with open arms who are duly elected representatives of the people. I believe it's a a command that we treat all persons with dignity and respect, and we will. And I'm not going to engage in silly debates about this. There's a concern about the uses of restroom facilities and locker rooms and all that. This is an issue that Congress has never had to address before, and we're going to do that in deliberate fashion with member consensus on it, and we will accommodate the needs of every single person. We don't look down upon anyone. We treat everybody with dignity and respect. That's a principle that I've pursued my whole life, and we will take care of this, issue of first impression for Congress, as we will any other thing. We'll provide appropriate accommodation for every member of Congress.
You were just talking about mandates, sir. Part of the argument that I've seen online is perhaps some of the voters who supported Trump were because of his view on some of these social issues, like protecting women in women's spaces. Is that reaction from the speaker satisfying to you? Do you think that aligns with where your own viewpoints stand on the matter?
Yeah, well, my constituency certainly would, on first blush, I heard Nancy Mace would be supportive of that. The fact of the matter is, you're one or the other, and we've got to understand that we've got to get back to that basic. And I believe in supporting everybody. I believe in this and that. But I've got 2 daughters and 2 granddaughters, and I don't want men walking in their restroom. I don't want men going in their locker room. I don't want them having to play against men. That's just the way it is, and so forth. So I lean in that direction. That we've got to come up with a solution, and the person involved with this needs to help come with a solution.
All right. A new time and a new issue, a new impression, as it's called there from Speaker Johnson, on how to handle the bathrooms. Congressman Roger Williams, thank you for that and your take on it.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.